And we are live. Welcome to Early Watch, Early Morning Gun Show. How's everyone doing today? Today is Free for All Friday. So this is where we're going to open up Early Watch for other people who want to join and share their 2A news or their gun stuff, what's going on in their gun life, that kind of stuff. So it's open to anyone who wants to join for Free for All Friday. All you have to do is mosey on over to gunchannels.com and ask for a link. So, front page of Gun Channels there, you'll see the post about the early watch. And if you just comment right below that you want a link, you'll get one. And then you can come on in here and share whatever you 2A news or whatever's going on in your gun life, and come share that with people. So let's see here. So I have some news I want to share. So I came across a very interesting video last night by a channel called Think Like a Cop. The rest of the story. Great channel. Been following this guy for years and years. Um, Awesome channel. But he had this video called Three Strange but Similar Incidents Involving Trained Police. But not even about the three incidents of the video, but the second incident in the video, which starts about the 6-minute mark. And again, this is posted on the front page of Gun Channels. But the second video talks about I guess what was it, an accidental shooting involving an FNS9 pistol, an FNS9 pistol. And so apparently, I actually want to talk to G-Webs about this later, maybe on the Daily Gun Show. Apparently the Arizona, was it Highway Patrol? I believe it was. They dropped the FNS9 pistol over an accidental discharge. And then you're like, oh gosh, what's going on? Does FN have like SIG P320 drop problems or something? So then when you actually dig into it, you find that there's a report out about it on why they dropped the pistol. But then they charge you $3,000 for the report to find out why they dropped the pistol, which I don't know. For some reason, I think since it's public tax dollar money and public tax dollar funding that report, that information should be all open to the public without having to pay $3,000 for the report. But anyway, someone bought it and published it online. And so apparently what happened is this guy walks into a gym or something, this off-duty police officer has an FNS9 in a bag with other guns in a holster. And apparently a piece of the bag had gotten wedged between the holster and the gun, and then when he tried to pull the gun out of the bag, it discharged, right? And then come to find out that a piece of the holster, a spacer for the holster, had come loose and like lodged in the gun and opened it up, and there's all this funny stuff. And like pretty much like through the report, you can either blame the holster, you can blame the gym bag, you can blame the cop, but nowhere in the whole report did I see any blame on the gun, like it was the gun's fault, right? And they go in through the report and they talk about the training of this officer and all his da 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 that he's had, and he just so happens to be on like the board of the police that ends up kind of like, I guess, picking, testing, and evaluation and picking guns and equipment and stuff. So that's just a coincidence, right? And but it looks like they're going to get a whole bunch of new guns, you know, but all because of an accidental discharge that wasn't the gun's fault. But yeah, that starts about the 6-minute mark, and then there's a whole nother story you can find online that has that report that you can go through and read through why. And it's just mostly a bunch of jargon, but I just think it's funny. Like nowhere in the report is the actual pistol at fault, but let's replace it. Let's replace a an apparent great sidearm that no one has problems with except for this one guy, because he messed up. But, instead of just taking the black guy and saying, yeah, I screwed up, I didn't properly check my holster and it came loose and a spacer came out of it and da da da, and and the gun went off. Accidents happen. Like, nope, no, it's the gun's fault. I can't be, I'm part of the testing and evaluation. I can't be wrong. So it's the gun's fault. We need new guns. Yeah, obviously, I think the guy was just a Glock fanboy. I mean, obviously, that's what it comes down to. Guy was just pissed. He can't carry a Glock. Had to carry an FN. He had to set FN up. So obviously, I think that's the way that all went down. But I just thought that was interesting. An entire department or state police force is basically dropping a gun because of one guy's accidental discharge when the gun wasn't at fault. So that's awesome politics, and what a wise way to spend taxpayers' money. When you're not the one fronting the bill, what an awesome way to do that. I bet if that guy had to pay for his own guns, I doubt that would happen. Let's see here. I did have another thing of a 2A news that I saw that I thought was very, very interesting. Let me see, where did I store this at? Let's see here. Where did I put gun info? I saved it somewhere here. Let's see. Oh, maybe I just left it in my email. Let's see here. Go to the email. Let's see here. Let's see if we got anyone over on gun channels that's awake on a Friday this early. I'm going shooting today. I'm gonna take my granddaughter out, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, where did that email go? All right, let's see here. Internet's running slow today. All right, Friday. Let's see. Okay, Portugal looks like they got their own gun rights group. The International Association for the Protection of Civilian Arms Rights announced today that the Portuguese gun rights group, I can't even say it, have joined the international coalition of 33 associations in 23 countries dedicated to defending civilian firearm rights. So, hey, that's always good when you hear another country, you know, trying to, or at least another group in a country trying to preserve their rights. Let's see, 3 for 3. Gun rights court wins is good news for 2A. Let's see here. In Bellevue, Washington, let's see here. I thought I just heard something about Washington, and I thought the governor signed 3 anti-gun bills in. This is saying 3 wins. Let's see here. Bellevue, Washington, 3 victories and 3 Second Amendment related cases, 2 from New York and 1 from Wisconsin. Oh, okay. This is good news for gun rights. The Second Amendment Foundation said today, this should be tantamount to 3 strikes you're out, said SAF founder and executive vice president Alan Gottlieb. Gun control took 3 hard punches and should be down for the count. He was alluding to the following cases. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled against New York City in an attempt to stay a challenge to that city's handgun law, prevents gun owners from taking their handguns outside their homes or the city. Let's see here. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court dismissed a lawsuit against Arms List that alleged the popular website was liable for the acquisition of a gun by Radcliffe Houghton in October 12. Houghton was subject to a restraining order at the time. The state high court ruled 5-1 that Arms List LLC is protected from liability by the Federal Communications Decency Act. Houghton used the gun to murder his wife and 2 of her co-workers. The third one, New York State Supreme Court dismissed 2 SAFE Act charges against a man convicted of selling firearms to an undercover officer in 2014. The SAFE, for Secure Ammunition and Firearms Enforcement, is an extreme gun control championed by anti-gun rights Governor Andrew Cuomo. In New York cases, Golub observed the court ruling should be clear signal that the state and New York City have taken gun control to unacceptable extremes. They need to be reined in. The Wisconsin case should have never been filed in the first place, he added. The federal law is supposed to prevent such legal actions, and the arms list case shows why. Gun rights court victories are like seeds, Golub said. They grow into big legal precedents. That is true. That's one thing that I always say. Is legal precedent is a big thing. Let's see here. So I just heard Washington gun laws. So yeah, ghost gun ban and other firearm laws signed in Washington. Let's see here. Let's see what all. Ghost gun ban and other firearm laws signed. Olympia Governor Jay Inslee signs a law banning untraceable ghost guns Tuesday as Attorney General Bob Ferguson left Representative Javier Valdez and Senator Moncadinga Wright and other gun control advocates look on. Let's see here. Washington law will ban ghost guns made with 3D printers, remove the rights of a person who is found incompetent to stand trial to have a firearm, and tighten a requirement for a concealed carry pistol license. Firearms can be removed from the homes of teens who are subject of an extreme risk protection order because they might hurt themselves or others. Governor Jay Inslee signed a series of bills Tuesday tightening Washington gun laws along with dozens of others, including a revision of statutes of hate crimes and requirements for better disclosure and contributions moved between political committees. The gun control laws would be a model for the rest of the United States, said Inslee, who is running for president. Oh, God, yeah, fuck this guy. Yeah, running for president, my ass. Not after this. I'm proud that Washington voters and legislators have done much to promote common sense gun safety in the last several years, Inslee said when signing the bill banning firearms made with plastic 3D printers. How many people have been killed with guns made from plastic 3D printers? That's what I like. That's what I want to know. If we're going to ban something, is like, let's just see if is it even a problem, right? We've come a long way from 1994, if I may say so, on a personal note. Yeah, because what? This motherfucker voted for the Brady Bill? In 1994, during his first term in Congress, then Representative Inslee voted for a ban on the manufacture and import of military semi-automatic rifles. Yeah. Was targeted by the National Rifle Association and lost his re-election campaign to Republican Doc Hastings as part of a GOP wave that captured 7 of the state's 9 House seats. That ban expired in 2004 and was not renewed by Congress. Washington voters put restrictions on the sale of semi-automatic rifles through an initiative last year, requiring the buyer to be at least 21 and require the same level of background check needed for a handgun. Gun rights advocates asked the legislature to repeal the initiative, but lawmakers never seriously considered it. Instead, they passed a ban on undetectable and untraceable firearms like those made from plastic with a 3D printer. A firearm must have a minimum amount of steel that would allow it to register on an X-ray machine, like the kind used for airport security. Yeah, that's already a law. Like, come on. starting July 1st, it'll be a felony to manufacture your own, buy or sell such a weapon, with an additional felony charge possible for selling one to a person who is ineligible to possess a firearm. I hope people 3D print guns and just leave them laying around all over fucking Washington at every bus stop. It's not. That's not even a fucking thing. It's. Oh, God. The legislature also made it easier to remove firearms from people who may be at risk to themselves or others. A person under 18 who is judged by a court to be in danger of committing a violent act could be the subject of an extreme risk protection order, which could require the immediate temporary removal of firearms belonging to the person named in the order. Anyone else in the home would be required to put their firearms in secure storage and face criminal prosecution if the subject of the protection order gains access to those weapons. Let's see here. A person who is detained in a mental health facility for a 3-day evaluation and treatment for possible risk of harming themselves or others would lose the right to possess a firearm for 6 months after that period. The right to possess firearms would be automatically restored if there are no further restrictions required by other laws. A person found not guilty by reasons of insanity for a crime that would result in making them ineligible to possess a firearm would have to surrender all firearms. So if you plead not guilty to a crime that would normally take your firearms, but you plead not guilty because of insanity, they still take your firearms. Well, yeah, because a not guilty by insanity is still a guilty. It's not like, oh, you're free to go. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, um, protection orders and restraining orders that require the subject to surrender firearms can also require the surrender of a concealed pistol license. Such an order must also be served by a law enforcement officer, and the weapons and license placed in the custody of that officer's agency. A court can issue a search warrant if an officer believes the person named in the protection order hasn't surrendered all weapons. Most of these new laws passed the legislature with strong Democratic support, but Republican opposition, one gun-related bill signed Tuesday, however, passed both chambers unanimously. It requires a background check for an original concealed pistol license to include the submission of the applicant's fingerprints for a check by the FBI. The Washington State Patrol had requested the change to comply with federal requirements. In other changes signed into law, malicious harassment will be redefined as a hate crime if it's a result of bias against a race, religion, gender, identity, or minority, attempting to remove religious clothing from a person, or placing a noose on the property of a person who is a member of a racial or ethnic minority. Wow. The maximum punitive damages in a civil action for a hate crime increases from $10,000 to $100,000. Well, yeah, reparations. Come on. Representative Javier Valdez, Democrat, of course, prime sponsor of the bill. Hey, guess what, Washington? Guess what, Seattle? I hope you like to become Detroit in Chicago because you're already a shithole. And guess what? Now you're going to be a bigger shithole where you're not even going to get tourism. How many people go visit fucking Detroit for tourism or Chicago anymore for tourism? Like Seattle's going to be the same thing. Democratic run city going down the drain. Now you're a shithole. You have officially become a shithole, Seattle. So good luck with that. God, I hate reading articles like that. Just, ugh. Yeah, and screw this guy running for president. Jay Inslee. Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. What other news do we got? We have. That was Washington. Let's see. Red flag laws must protect due process. Well, of course they do. They should have to. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. That's it from SAF, the Second Amendment Foundation. They haven't got much going on over there that we haven't already talked about. Go check the YouTube side. Let's see what's going on over there. Oh, let's see here. Oh, Kingpin. There you go. Yeah, how many people have actually printed a 3D gun? That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's a file out there. You can basically print a Liberty pistol, a little single shot pistol that kind of destroys itself just shooting a little 22 long rifle out of it, right? Like, to realistically try and make a real gun, like, I mean, you're going to need a bunch of metal. You're going to need a slide, a barrel, you're going to just need so much more than a 3D printer and know-how. I mean, just like, has one single person in the United States been killed or even shot or something, or hurt with a 3D printed gun, except for maybe the guy who 3D printed it? like, like, has a 3D gun ever been committed in a crime? I would really like someone to write the ATF and request a Freedom of Information Act and ask them if, yeah, like we want a report on all the crimes committed with a 3D printed gun. So I am just pretty sure that's kind of a non-existent thing. So for them to make a whole law, taxpayer money to make that law and to pass it, when no one's ever even been convicted of that, like it's not a thing, that just shows you how corrupt our government is. It really does. Especially a city like Seattle, a Democrat-run city now. Like that just shows you the corruption. I hope all you young guys are paying attention because a lot of you guys are too young or have maybe never seen a state and a city like go from basically being a nice place to live to a shithole through a thing called the democratic process of electing democratic politicians. But keep your eyes on Washington because that's what you're going to see here over the next 10 years is a good state, a beautiful state, a nice place to go visit, probably a nice place to live. You're going to see this place turn into a major shithole, go into major debt. Their city streets, their everything, their businesses, their economy, everything's going to go downhill. Just watch the next 10 years. Just keep an eye on Washington and see what happens over the next 10 years. It's going to get bad and ugly up there, just like it did in Detroit. I expect crime. I bet you crime goes up 20% in Seattle in the next 2 years. I bet you 10% a year. You watch. Just like Detroit, just like Chicago, just like all those Democrat cities. Poor bastards. Let's see here. What else? Any other gun news going on? Let's see here. Pocahontas tells McConnell case not closed on impeachment. So Pocahontas still wants to impeach Trump. Da da da. I don't really care about those politics. Same stuff every day. Let's see here. Uh, Dems admit border crisis. Finally, I guess somehow. Oh, blame Trump. Yeah, of course it's Trump's fault. Oh, Ninth Circuit Court sides with Trump on the wait in Mexico policy. Oh, there's a win. Let's see. Man, I'm not finding much today for Friday for news out there for 2A News. Not much at all. Oh, hey, oh, look, there's a Tony out there. Let's get that man a leak. There we go. Trump wants top Obama official prosecuted. Says Kerry should be prosecuted for talking with Iran. Well, yeah, because we ended up giving them how many billions of dollars?
Morning, dead horse. People
Hey,
out there
Tony.
that are listening. Sorry I'm late, but I was enjoying some tranquility.
Nah, yeah, it's Friday. There's no such thing as being on time on Friday.
It's also the last day I got to get the kids up and get them off to school.
Good. You're gonna have some peace and quiet here next week then.
So far as I know,
Be able to take a break and relax and recoup, maybe.
sit in a chair that I'm actually comfortable in.
Yep. I hear that.
I should have brought some bitch over here, but I'm just too lazy.
It's amazing how much you can miss, like just the chair, right? And you're just like, man, like all these other chairs suck. I wish I had my chair.
Uh, Definitely. This house is really unlevel, so chairs on rollers are kind of a bitch, which is why I never actually brought it.
The house is unlevel.
Oh, yeah.
Like what? Just sinking into the ground and made it unlevel, or what?
Yeah. Yeah, people had done remodels and took structure out, and the friggin' thing sagged.
Uh,
They shored it up some, but not in the exact right place. It's going to have a little bit more work. But it's unlevel enough that if you lift up your feet in a chair with wheels on it, the chair will roll away.
yeah, I'd say that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like walking a golf course, walking through the house up and down.
Sounds like I got a chair. Like I would have a chair out of my driveway and it just roll down the driveway, right? Like,
Well, they roll toward the center support wall, which is dropped probably 6 inches.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's significant.
Did that like bust out all the concrete and stuff on a sag like that? All the foundation? Did it crack all that?
It's a brick foundation that has been tucked, so I don't know. I'm sure that it did. I think what they did was they took the brick chimney out, and I think the chimney was part of the support. And these people didn't realize what the hell they were doing. But
That makes sense.
I don't care. It ain't my worry. I just know I do not like the house at all.
So, are you gonna do anything this weekend with the grandkids before your break?
Hell no.
Mm.
I'm going to move all of my shit back to the house Saturday. Now we're going to all get together Sunday afternoon to do Mother's Day, but all I intend to do is buy them ice cream so they're wound up for their mom.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Exactly. Here you can have these little bastards back.
Oh, that's funny.
Do not call me.
Yep. Not at least not for like a month, right? Like you want like a month off.
Well, it's getting to where the kids are starting to get mouthy and shit, because
Oh, they're used to you, right?
Yeah. And I'm not very tolerant of that. It's not that I will beat the shit out of the kids, but it certainly pisses me off.
No, just sprinkle a little cayenne pepper on their breakfast cereal instead of sugar. That works. You're gonna get mouthy with me this morning? All right. Here's your breakfast.
Actually, today was good. They got up, the granddaughter, who's usually horrible in the morning, got up on her own, got dressed, and waited to go to school.
How old are these kids, Tony?
7 and 10.
Okay, yeah. So see, you still got it easy. Even like mouthy at that age still isn't mouthy, right? So you're just lucky that you're not like babysitting like them as like teenagers at like 16 and 15 and like ages like that. Boy, now that's when the mouthy really starts.
I ain't
And
gonna
the
do this.
fighting to get out of bed to go to school for like, oh, that's when that really starts bad.
I ain't gonna do this again, so I ain't gonna deal with that shit. I I knew it would be harder, but I didn't realize how much harder it would be to do. I had them for a year when they were 2 and 6, 2 and 5.
Yeah, this next summer just or next year just tell them like, yeah, like they have these camps for kids. you know,
Well,
it's like a vacation. Tell them, these like
it's not a annual thing. It's just whenever duty
yeah, yeah.
calls. Like find
Where
some.
did your daughter get deployed to?
He's up in northern Wisconsin.
Oh wow.
She does logistics in the military, so supply logistics, and for some reason they needed her up there for 2.5 months.
Yeah, hey, you don't get to pick where you want to go. You just get told, right?
Oh, I'm still freaking just beat. I mean, I'm wore the fuck out, to be honest.
So what are now that you get a break next week? What are your plans next week to for time for Tony? Like, are you gonna go shooting? You gonna do anything for you?
I'm probably not going to do a hell of a lot because I'm trying to. I got some yard work and shit that I'm going to have to do. Being is that I don't go over to the house except to get the mail usually, and I did mow the lawn last week. There's a tree that fell down that I'm going to have to take care of, and I need to prune a bunch of trees, which I was planning to do before this came up, but I didn't.
So it sounds like you're not even going to get a break. You have to like go back right to work because, well, you've missed out on keeping up on all that stuff. That
Yeah,
sucks,
but
Tony.
when I get back home, I'll be able to sleep. Uh, this house is nowhere near dark enough for me to be able to sleep worth of shit. And mine is. Plus, my own bed be nice too.
You can't sleep with the lights on or with the light.
I have to be so freaking tired I can't function before I fall asleep in the daytime. That was why third shifts were always a freaking struggle for me until I found out to just put on a freaking mask.
Yep, I can sleep in the daytime, but it's never like a deep sleep, right? It's like every little noise, like your eyes are opening. Like, what was that? What was that noise? Yeah.
Well, I sleep with a fan, so the noise ain't so much an issue. Now these kids, they make so much friggin' noise that they'll wake me up. But at home, it's not a problem.
Will your wife be happy to have you home?
She'll be happy to be at home too, because she's been here with me.
Oh, has she? Okay.
But she works, so she's not here with the kids for the most part of the day. She actually started riding to work earlier, not to not have to deal with them. Well, thank you very much. I forgot how much of a pain in the ass dealing with the school and shit is.
Oh gosh, yeah. Like, see, that's like when you become a grandpa, you're supposed to be like that's Supposed to leave all that behind you.
Yeah, no shit. I ain't supposed to be talking to teachers every other fucking day complaining about this and that.
Yep, I don't even like to do it as a parent, let alone like as a, grandfather. Gosh, I can't even imagine my little granddaughter if I had to like, deal with her teachers and stuff too. Like, yep, not looking forward to that too.
I don't recall that many issues with my kids, but then again, the old lady was taking care of a lot of that, so I was shielded. I know if they did something bad enough, I had to discipline when I got home from work, and I never really liked that idea either. But that's just the way it went down.
Yeah, I'm the bad guy here too. That's my job is the discipliner, right? So, like, the wife's like, oh, like they did this or they did that, like, so then it's my job to punish them. So I'm always the bad guy.
Yep, that's what I was too.
No, hopefully the rewarding part of that is like when you see your own kids become like you basically and like become a parent and then like they're disciplining their kids the same way and then you're like, aha, see, I'm like, aha, like see, I wasn't the bad guy. And then that's like when your kids finally realize, like I see why they did that now.
Uh, my number three daughter, she used corporal punishment on her oldest son, and then he started hitting back at her. And she said, I thought that that was telling me that I shouldn't use corporal punishment. I said, well, you got a choice to make there. If you want to get it over and done with, that's where a swat on the butt comes in. You want to stand there and watch them while they got their nose in the corner or that sort of thing, then you're punishing yourself as much as them. And to be honest, most kids, one swat on the butt will usually stop
Oh yeah. Yep.
things, so it isn't like it's something you're going to do 18 times a day in most kids.
Well, and if you give them too much rope, if you're like too hesitant to give that swat on the butt, you give them too much rope, and then like, and you like let them have free reign, and you just let them run wild, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now it's time for me to start to be a parent, and then you're like going to start giving swats on butts. Then it's a lot harder because like you have like you're just kind of bringing that out of nowhere, and then I think that's a lot harder to try and bring that discipline out and make it work versus like right off the bat,
Yeah.
like terrible twos, threes, fours. Like, no, you don't do this. No, you don't do that. Oh, like you're gonna scream and cry and throw a fit. Like okay, you're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna scream and cry to get your ice cream or whatever, or not to because you don't want to eat dinner and so I see, man, I see like a lot of parents doing that nowadays. It's like the kids are the parents.
Well,
It's like the parents are asking the kids, like, what do you want for dinner? Like, oh, like, like kids are like, oh, I'm not going to eat this for dinner. Parents are like, oh, okay, you don't have to. Go grab something out of the fridge, whatever you want. Like when I was a kid, it's like, oh, if you don't eat what's on your plate for dinner, like that's it. Like there's nothing else. Like you're not allowed in the fridge. You're not like, you don't just go to the cupboard and grab something else out if you don't eat your dinner. Like, like there's a whole different world. I don't see that at all now. Like I don't see that at all nowadays. Like for real, it's it's just like, oh, it's whatever kids do, whatever they want. It's like they're their own adults now. They're their own parents.
yeah, there's a lot of that. And I'm guilty about them not making them eat stuff they don't want. I didn't used to be with my kids, but I'm not willing to put up that struggle anymore. And these kids actually, their whole lives, they've lived with us up until a year ago, year and a half ago. So they were already used to the discipline thing. It's not like it came out of left field. They're still kids. I mean, they argue and I want this that he's got, or he's taking that away from me, or she's doing this. That kind of crap goes on all the time.
I don't. The worst part is like when you discipline them, and then you feel bad about it afterwards, right? And then you like feel all guilty and stuff. Like that's the worst part because it's like you know it's your job and you know it was like the right thing to do, but then you still feel shitty about it. Like that's the worst part.
Most of the time I ever whooped my kids, I felt bad about doing it because it was one of those things where I get home from work and it's like these guys need punished for this or that or the other thing. Fuck, I don't want to do this. And it's easy to whoop one when you're pissed off at them. I can tell you what, I've lost the ability to tune out the racket. I used to be able to do that really well. Our kids. Not anymore. God, I sit here and I'm thinking, would you just shut the fuck up for 5 minutes for Christ's sake?
I think some of the cartoons and stuff like that that the little tiny kids are watching nowadays kind of, I don't know, promotes a don't listen to your parents, like, you know, do what you want type attitude. I really do, compared to like the kid cartoons we had available or the kid programs we had available when I was a kid, like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and stuff like that. I don't know, like, like, I don't know. I guess the shows for like maybe kids 5 and under, I don't know. They're not the same anymore. I mean, they're not even close to the same kind of messages or anything.
I'm astounded at the stupidity of the shit. I mean, some of this stuff I see these kids watch is just the stupidest stuff. How in the hell can you watch that? Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's they have shows on there that like they don't even talk in, right? Like and stuff like they don't even like speak English. It's not even a real language. It's like the whole show's like in this some made up language. And the kids really aren't learning anything. Just listening to these characters make weird sounds and like bouncing around on the screen and stuff, right? And just I don't know. There's so much waste there right now. Like at least all the kids programs were educational along with entertainment, right? There was like a balancing act now or back then, and nowadays it's just all like I guess mostly entertainment. They don't care so much about like the important messages they used to give because I sure don't see those same messages. Like when we watch cartoons and stuff, like with my granddaughter and stuff, I don't see those same messages that Mister Rogers or Sesame Street or shows like that had to share. It's not the same.
No, what I see is mostly product placement.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Uh, she watches a show where these people are moving these little 2-inch tall figurines around with their fingers talking, and they got it focused in on the little toys, but you can see the adult fingers on them moving them around. Shit, I'm like, this is how the hell did this get on TV? Can't think of what the name of the little figurines are, but they're, I guess, the new in thing for younger girls.
I think a lot of it too is like the whole politically correct culture. They have to be so like I don't know, maybe scared of what they say or stuff like that. Like every little thing can be called out as offending somebody, right? So they basically have to make the shows like such nonsense and dribbled down, you know, that it's just yeah. there was a thing just a couple months ago, a news article. I didn't read the whole thing because this like the first paragraph disgusted me, but it was like trying to say like talk about how unpolitically correct Mr. Rogers was, right, like that show and stuff, and like how it's like how it was bad and not politically correct and racist, like all this stuff. I'm like, dude, like you're barking up the wrong tree here. So I didn't finish reading the article, but I bet you there is a lot of fear, and I bet you there's a ton of like kid shows and programs that don't get picked up because they're like, oh, it's your message sounds awfully Christian to me, like even though you don't mention Christ or anything, it sounds awfully Christian. So no, we're gonna pass up on this show because there's too much good in it.
Well, it's pretty simple, really. If you don't like something you see, don't watch. Hell, ain't hard. Things get blown so out of proportion, and a lot of us people wanting 15 minutes of fame. I don't know. I think people just need to be smacked. Mr. Rogers avenge you? Don't fucking watch him. Easy enough.
Yep, Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross. There's, it should be like pretty much like almost like a mandatory thing for kids to watch, like in preschool and kindergarten and stuff. Just paint some happy little trees and learn to tie your tennis shoes.
Yeah. Wonder how many kids these days know how to tie a shoe.
Well, they don't. Haven't you seen the kids' shoes nowadays? They're all like Velcro and just like slip on. Like the shoes look like they have shoelaces. They look like they do, but they really don't. Like if you like a lot of the shoes, if you look at them, you're like, oh, those are laces, and then you actually look at the shoe and they're just like stretchy laces. Like they're not even real.
My grandson just don't tie them. I'm like, boy, that's silly. You're gonna trip and fall. No, I never tie my shoes, Grandpa. Okay. When you trip and fall down, just remember what I told you. I'm just ready to get the fuck out of here.
Man, I was reading some article that brought up gun safety in schools or something happened in a school. Gun safety in school. They were talking about like the bus accidents. That might have been on Think Like a Cop. They were talking about like the bus accidents involving kids, like just either riding the bus or getting off the bus. Like something like 15 to 18,000 kids are injured every year, like on bus rides, like on public or not public, but like school bus rides, like school buses. They're like, yeah, like when are we gonna fix this school bus problem we got here? Like you're hurting all of our kids. Like 18,000 kids a year are injured on school buses.
Well, school buses ain't evil. Guns are.
Yeah, so I don't know. Those big yellow things, they look evil to me. Like they're like tanks, basically.
Maybe they need to start finishing guns in school bus yellow. Put a little sign on the side that says "Stop." Oh shit!
Let's see here. Saved. I think I saved something. Oh, Brownells posted a really cool old picture on their Instagram of Mark Twain with his Colt model 1903. The picture was taken in 1908, and he's shooting Mark Twain's shooting his Colt model 1903 pistol in this picture, and it's a neat, cool picture of him shooting this pistol. And so I can appreciate when people like Brownells and stuff post old pictures like that. I thought that was cool. I don't think I'd ever seen that picture of Mark Twain. I knew he was a gun guy. He had guns and stuff and carried a gun, but I I don't think I'd ever actually seen a picture of him like holding or shooting a gun. So that was neat to see.
I can't say that I have.
Let's see if I can screen share this here. Let's see. Instagram. Brownells. Brownells. Here we go.
Brownells had the greatest frickin' April Fool's gag I ever saw. That semi-automatic minigun.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the picture. Let's screen share this. So, let's see here. Present to everyone. I guess I gotta turn up the bandwidth. Okay, here we go. The awesome picture of Mark Twain here. Oh, I guess I gotta reset this. Reset. There we go. The awesome picture of Mark Twain with a 1903 Colt. Look at that. He's practicing that ECK. He must have got trained by Voda and John Wick. Look how close his gun is to his face. He's tactical. Look, just like John Wick, instead of a black suit, a white suit. Like Mark Twain probably was like the first John Wick.
Mark Wick.
Yeah, Mark Wick. Yeah, Mark Twain was just his pen name, right? That was just a fake name, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mark Wick. Yeah, I can appreciate old pictures like this. I think that's cool as hell.
Yeah, that's, I think, first time I've ever seen a picture with Mark Twain and a gun. Oh, shit, now fucking what, man?
Let's see, I'm trying to find that. Was that this year that they did that, Tony, on April Fools?
I don't think so. I think it was older than that, but
Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah.
I think I saw it before I come over here. But I don't think it was over a year ago either.
Let me see here. April 3rd. April 2nd. April 2nd.
I gotta bail. I gotta fucking go to school.
Okay, Tony. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I'm going to cut today's show early anyway because I'm going to go shooting today with my granddaughter. I'm going to get out and pull the trigger. And but thought I'd throw this up for a little while, talk about guns in the morning.
I appreciate it. And everybody out there's listening, have a good one. Be safe this weekend and all that.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for joining, Tony. I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Let's see. The first John Wick was John Connors. Yeah. Okay, I'd believe that. I'd believe that. So I have a theory. I have a theory that Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure with like Keanu Reeves, right? Like that's the same universe as John Wick. And how John Wick is so good and such like how he can survive so much and like go up against so many guys is that he saw the future with the phone booth, right? Going into the future. He saw the future, he saw what everyone was gonna do. He traveled back into the future, right? Or back into the past and he's like living his life and then yeah, all that stuff happened. So he's a time traveler. Like John Wick is, Bill and Ted, same universe. It's the same guy. So, yep, same guy. Explains everything. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to call it early today. I don't see Dano or anyone out there that wants to join. So I think all those guys must be sleeping in today. Let's see. Tonight on Gun Channel, 7 p.m., we have The Right of the People with Budget Guns and Gear. We have Foul Territory at 9 p.m. with Gizzard Gary. Then we have the Daily Gun Show at midnight Eastern Time. So tune in for that. I will probably throw up an evening lobby tonight. An evening gun focused 2A focused chat. Open lobby for everyone to come join. So keep an eye out for that on gun channels. I'll probably throw that up before um a while before Gizzard's show, probably earlier in the evening, like 6 p.m. or something. Uh, Give some of the guys a place to go to talk about guns. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later. And Early Watch will be back Monday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And thank you all for tuning in.